Talk about investing, and especially if you're from the diaspora, what we know are remittances that we send to our family to buy TVs, clothes and whatnot. But do you know that if you're in the diaspora, you can still take up some space in the Kenyan mortgage or property market if you like? Well, joining me is Vincent Aberi, who's the head of diaspora investment at KCB. Karibu sana.
Thank you so much.
Vincent, you've lived in the States for a long time and you just came back.
Yes.
For people like you who are just trying to settle back or people who are still there, what are the challenges they face when they want to invest their monies?
Basically, the challenges is trusting people who can actually securely do these investments for you. In the past, people have relied on relatives to invest for them.
Which hasn't worked out really
Which
well.
has not worked out very well,
Right.
and they've ended up very disappointed. And that's why we see banks like KCB stepping in and being that the bridge between people who are actually in the diaspora and people who are actually back here. So we're actually helping them and being that preferred financial partner.
So how exactly does this work? Are we just sidestepping our relatives and getting this financial partner? How exactly does diaspora investing work?
Well, we actually reach out to them, and basically what we want to show them that using a financial institution is actually a very trustworthy means of investing.
Right.
Simply because a bank is an institution that has to maintain its character. And when you reach out to them and say, this is how you're going to do it,
Right.
they can actually open accounts here in Kenya,
Right.
use our internet platform to see how their money is growing, or basically be able to wire money at home or send money to their accounts, monitor them while they're still there. And now, in the presence of actually doing that, in the process of doing that, they can actually start investing in properties.
Vincent, for lots of Kenyans who want to get into the mortgage space in this Kenya and take up mortgages in the country while they're still abroad, how does the interest rate change affect this?
Well, right now we see that there's a trend that is actually going, the interest rates are actually coming down. For KCB, we've actually been running a mortgage special for the diaspora. We do offer dollar loans at 9%, and for the Kenya shillings, we're offering at 14.5.
So this is despite fluctuations in Forex?
This is despite the fluctuations in Forex. We've actually looked and said, why don't we actually reduce the rate for them?
Which is obviously a better deal than the rest of us here.
I can say that because for people actually in the diaspora, they're more inclined to look at taking up opportunities where they see that they're getting a better interest rate, which we're actually offering to them as KCB compared to our competitors. And that is one key thing that we know. Diaspora are keen to invest in real estate, especially buying land and buying properties, or actually constructing pieces of land that they do own currently.
The sort of investments you're talking about, where do we see them from? Is it just in America or everyone everywhere?
Well, the properties like here in that we have here in Kenya, we have the biggest mortgage, we are the biggest mortgage lender, of course, in the market, and we've partnered with developers. So we have a very elaborate website, which is www.kcbpropertyguide.com. You can actually go in and browse through various properties in various parts of the country. KCB actually allows you to invest in any part of all the 47 counties. We have a very large network. We have mortgage centers nationwide, and these allow people to actually invest in various areas where, away from the city center, which a lot of people have placed a lot of emphasis. As we now bring up the counties and they have county headquarters, there will be an increased level where people want housing, if people want to invest in that. Also, we see people venturing into farming, especially people in the diaspora. They're really keen in farming. So investing really is not just real estate. We also encourage people to look at other areas like farming or even healthcare.
Vincent, investing in property or real estate involves a lot of due diligence. There's a lot of paperwork. Who covers for this cost?
Well, some of those costs are actually covered by the buyer, but really using an institution like KCB, we will do the due diligence for you. Previously, people trusted family members to deal with brokers, and there are very many scrupulous brokers who ended up not generally having these pieces of land. But if you use a financial institution, we are going to ensure that we do our due diligence. By doing that, we're actually protecting the buyer, which is actually somebody in the diaspora who has no idea what they're buying, but they're trusting an institution like KCB to be able to carry that exercise for them.
Do we see a lot of these people coming from, say, in the African continent who are investing, and not just Kenyans who are settled in the West? Do we see people in the African continent do this?
Well, like you've seen in the recent past, because of the oil exploration, we've seen people from Nigeria coming in and actually investing in the oil and gas sector. So you've seen other European countries also. For example, if you look at the Eurobond, which was heavily subscribed by the US and the Europeans in the Kenyan market, they have faith in this economy, as it's an emerging economy, not just a third world economy anymore. So this is what we actually encourage the diaspora to look at, the opportunities that are available, and just look at the space of not just in real estate, but other avenues where they can actually make an impact.
Vincent, obviously the Western market is it's a mature market than we have, and so we don't have as many investment options as they would have there. So we're talking about land, which is predominant an African thing, and probably a few guys go into unit trust and whatnot. That difference, how does it pose a challenge?
We've actually had, I spent about 2 months in the US just in the recent past, and some other people did approach saying, we would want other options like mutual funds, things that are more structured, unit trust, REITs, which are more investing into real estate. We do now have KCB Capital, and we're actually looking into the future that we will develop such products, because we are now focusing more on the customer, and we want to find out more what can we do for the customer that we actually are dealing with. And the diaspora is more of people who are more enlightened, and they're used to quick service, and that's why we've actually looked at improving our internet banking, which actually can allow you to, in the near future, do M-Pesa. Our mobile app allows you to do M-Pesa now. So those are we're going to use technology to actually drive the diaspora business, because that is what we're going to focus on.
Our time is out, Vincent. What is your success rate so far?
So far, I will say that since the beginning of the year, we've actually grown by about 40%. And that is it's a good story that we will continue to engage the diaspora, look at other markets, not just the US, European markets, and also the Middle East. So we will continue to look at other markets in the near future as we make future plans.
All right. Good place to end it there. Vincent Aberi, who's the head of diaspora investing at KCB, telling you to tell your relatives that it is possible for them to invest in this country. Edith?